Obviously, there are live proceedings that have now started as a consequence of the events in the court, and as like anybody else in society, I can't comment on those live proceedings, even when they involve the alleged embezzlement of the Scottish National Party funds, in which we have been the victim in that circumstance. So I'm obviously following events carefully and respect entirely the judgments that the courts will make.
How do you respond to the news that Nicola Sturgeon, one of your predecessors, and Colin Beattie, an MSP in your party, have been, are no longer under investigation?
This will have been a very difficult and challenging experience for Nicola Sturgeon and for Colin Beattie, and I know they will be relieved by the outcome of the proceedings today. I share that relief for them, and I hope this provides the opportunity for both Nicola and Colin to move on from the difficulties that they have faced while this investigation has been underway.
As colleagues in your group in Parliament, as party colleagues, have you had the opportunity to speak to either of them? Will you be speaking to either of them? What will you say to them?
I've been on government business since I concluded the First Minister's questions this afternoon with a meeting with the United Nations Commissioner on Refugees and also with the Scottish Trade Union Congress, and I'm now dealing with media interviews on this issue, so I haven't yet had the opportunity to speak to my colleagues, but I'm sure I will have that opportunity.
What kind of impact has all of this had on the SNP? Has this been damaging for the SNP, this ongoing investigation, the length of time it's taken?
There are live proceedings underway, so there's a limit to what I can say in this respect, but I've acknowledged, indeed, the fact that I have come into the leadership of the Scottish National Party as an indication that the SNP has faced very difficult times in the recent period, and that, of course, has been contributed to by the fact that this investigation has been underway. But I think what people will now see is that the court proceedings that are now live involve the possibility that the SNP has been an alleged victim of embezzlement, and that's obviously a matter that will have contributed to those difficulties that we have experienced. But what people should also know is that in my leadership of the Scottish National Party, there will always be the highest standards of governance and financial control in place to make sure the SNP has a very secure future.
For anyone who is making a donation to the party or supporting the party financially, can they be confident in that donation?
I think people know me well enough to know that I preside over the highest standards of governance and financial control. I was the Finance Minister of Scotland for 10 years and I delivered financial control for Scotland throughout that period. And in the standards I bring to the leadership of the Scottish National Party, that's the approach that will be taken. And I will constantly ensure that resources donated to the Scottish National Party to support our essential work to make sure that Scotland can become an independent country and to make sure that we can have successful election campaigns will be applied in all of my decision making and all of my activities and the activities of the party. And I think the fact that we now see the Scottish National Party, although having gone through a very difficult period which led to me coming into the leadership, is now leading the opinion polls in Scotland, and I think we have a very sound basis for optimism for the years that lie ahead.
I know there is a limit to what you are able to say legally, but is it a relief that there is now finally progress in this investigation? Are you worried about this still hanging over the party in some sense as you head towards the 2026 election?
We are in a much clearer position today because what has emerged from the proceedings in court today is that the Scottish National Party may be the alleged victim of embezzlement, and that is the issue the courts have got to consider. So that, I think, indicates to anybody observing the situation that the Scottish National Party is in a clearer position today, that the issues that have been associated with this investigation have been advanced to an extent that that point is clear. And in that context, I think we can feel that some of the difficulties that we have experienced as a consequence of this investigation being underway have now moved on.
And just a question from Sky News, if I may. Nicola Sturgeon says the investigation has raised a lot of doubts about the SNP. Is she right on that?
Obviously, the Scottish National Party has suffered a really tough time in the last few years. Indeed, this investigation has contributed to that tough time. And as a result of that tough time, I'm now the First Minister of Scotland and the leader of the Scottish National Party. And what I think people can judge from that is that the firm, principled leadership that I bring to the party and to the government, where I address the priorities of the people of Scotland directly, firmly and clearly, and always in the public interest, is what I can concentrate on and I can deliver on for the people of Scotland. And I think that should give confidence to people observing where the Scottish National Party is today. And where the Scottish National Party is today is that we're leading the opinion polls in Scotland. We've got a government focused on the needs of the people of Scotland, and we're determined to bring hope to the people of Scotland through independence.
I suspect you won't be able to answer this, but just from what you have been saying, are you seeing this now, this case, more as about one individual rather than an issue with an institution, the party being that institution?
There are live proceedings underway, so there is a limit to what I can say, even as First Minister, about an individual case upon which the courts have got to determine. But what's clear from today's events is that the Scottish National Party has been the alleged victim of embezzlement. That's what's clear today. And this investigation has been very difficult for the party. It will have raised doubts in the eyes of members of the public. But I think what members of the public will see now is a party that's led with the strongest and highest standards of governance that I bring to the leadership of the Scottish National Party, and for the way in which we handle the financial contributions made to our party, how we campaign, and crucially, how we lift hope and sights within the public in Scotland. And I think that's the opportunity that now is available to us as a party, that we can communicate directly with the public without the implications of this investigation hanging over us.
First Minister, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.